All right, everyone, time for another Joe Biden rant because all he can do is make verbal mistakes. So, anything that you say in comparison will look great. Just mutter to yourself for 5 minutes and then you put that on a recording and it'll sound better than a Joe Biden speech. He was talking about RFK and MLK and shit like that from, yesteryear. He got his dates completely wrong. He was saying that RFK and MLK were killed in the late 70s, which isn't true. They were both killed in 1968, actually. And then talking about the Haight-Ashbury, people were tuning in and dropping out in the early 60s. No, it wasn't. It was the late 60s, dude, just like RFK and MLK. You're getting the decades wrong. At what point, when a person chronically forgets details of that nature, at what point do you determine that it may be dementia? All the signs are there. He's forgetting things. He's slurring his speech. He's confused at times. He's in the age range where this stuff normally begins happening, if it's going to happen. He's in his mid-70s. He's an old man. He's not Joe Biden from, the last time he was campaigning. Why isn't his wife telling him to stop? Can you not see that your husband is demented? Is showing the warning signs of this? Now, some would say, well, yeah, but, when someone who's got, that sort of problem, when they stop doing things and just sort of sit down and get sedentary, it advances quicker. Okay, well, find him something else to do because being president's not going to be what helps him. If you're thinking, if only Joe enters the White House again, he'll get better, that's not going to happen because there's no chance of him winning. At this point, it's becoming more and more far-fetched for him to even win the primaries, not because he's not the front runner now, not because if the trajectory remains the same as it currently does, he wouldn't be the nominee. He would. He's the front runner by 10 points. There's no particular other reason to suspect that he would lose. He's done okay at the first two debates, the second one better than the first. If he gets past that, yeah, he might get nominated, but do you honestly think that he can go from now until the end of the general election, if he is nominated, and not be totally brain-fucked? Trump will run roughshod over him. It doesn't even matter at that point. It doesn't even matter if people hate Trump. The economy could collapse and he'll still be reelected. Because his opponent will be a drooling idiot, a lunatic, a person with literal dementia, a person who is incapable of governing. Even a lot of partisan Democrats will not vote for that. They don't want to be responsible for the fallout. They'd essentially be electing his vice president anyway. And it seems like possibly they'd be electing his wife. You'd have what was that president? Was it Wilson, I think it was, had a stroke and then they thought his wife was signing off shit. Wouldn't let anyone else visit him alone, and she would take the papers back. Oh, yes, I'll show this to Woody to sign. And then, the signature started looking a little bit different around those times, and they think she was the one signing them. So we may have legislation still active today that's technically not even legally valid. But there's no way to challenge it because Woody's wife signed it. We could end up with a situation like that. Didn't Biden already have an aneurysm too? And his brain surgeon comes out, oh yeah, he's fine. Yeah, when your brain surgeon has to assure people that you're in good health, you're not in good health. I mean, this is fucking crazy shit. People made a big stink about the candidate's age in the 2016 election. Trump was pushing 70, Hillary Clinton was pushing 70, they're almost the same age. Biden is half a decade older, I think, or at least he's a couple years older, I believe. It's Sanders that's a half a decade older. Why isn't anyone, by the way, talking about his age? There's another stark thing. The front runner is his age and his mental state are being talked about. With Bernie Sanders, I can tell that he's different because I'm a Vermonter. I have to deal with this shit all the time. I can tell he's not the same Bernie from 2016. He's slowing down. He's a little bit not quite all there at times. But it's a far cry from Biden. He's better off than Biden is. Yeah, hell, somebody showed me a slightly cringy take of him playing baseball, but at least he can hit and throw a ball. He looked better than Gary Delabate at that point, or what was the other? Was it Chris Rock? I think it was the other one that did really badly. Oh my God! Look up bad first pitches if you want some fun. I don't even like sports, and I find them funny. But Joe he's not there anymore. There's no capability to govern in Joe Biden's head. He's confused. He's increasing, and it's getting worse. That's the other part. You can see when he first enters the race, it's like a little bit like some casual mistakes and stuff, and people just said, oh, well, it's Biden being Biden. He's a gaffe master. At this point, it's not even characteristic of Biden. It's simply dementia. I am alleging that Joe Biden is suffering from the early stages of Alzheimer's disease. At this point, it's kind of clear. I can tell you that because I had a relative with Alzheimer's. And it looks pretty much the same as my grandfather, half a decade before he died. Now, of course, he made it into his mid-80s. I mean, insane. But yeah, it looks similar. Pretty soon Biden will probably have physical problems too. Like, is he going to lose the ability to stand? Are you going to be happy with another wheelchair-bound president? And this time you won't even have a world war to buoy his support. And the Democrats will end up having to own a very strange situation in which a dynastic politician whose main claim to fame was Obama's VP gets into the White House and is incapable of governing, or loses in a spectacular fashion because something happens before the general ends, which is much more likely. And then they end up re-electing Trump. But even if he gets in there, at the rate he's declining, do you think Biden can seek a second term? No. That means he'll have a non-incumbent election. The non-incumbent elections aren't great. It would not go well for the Democrats. You would essentially in their haste to do the orange man bad, get rid of Trump thing because they think Biden's electable, they're willing to deal with another Republican coming in right after Biden is done and probably dies in office. That's probably what they're angling for. They're so deranged at Trump that they say, fuck strategy, long-term strategy be damned. Everything else be damned. We simply need to get rid of Orange Man and everything else will be just A-okay. Well, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Joe Biden can't even give a normal speech. It's like, especially when you get to the point where, for a living, in my case, and for some of you it's the same, you're speaking for long periods of time. It's okay to rant and go off the rails a bit, but when you chronically forget minor details that you should generally know, and you're doing that every single time you speak, that would be an indicator of something going wrong. Look, if a YouTuber started doing that, people would start making comments about them needing to get a brain scan or something. And they'd be half Joe Biden's age. Don't you think he's got a little bit of a problem when he can't even remember the decade in which RFK and MLK died? I mean, he was alive and well at the time. He was like, in his 20s, I think, at the time. He should remember these details. That's like the ultimate boomer moment, is RFK getting blown away. Arguably, allegedly by Saran. I'm not sure that his brother believes that, but it's the official storyline. Yeah, there's nothing mysterious there. Didn't the government have to settle out with MLK's family because they alleged that the FBI had assassinated him or something, and they settled out of court because of it, and they actually got paid? No, don't even talk about JFK. That's the one that the government really wants you to forget. That's about all. Peace out.